Pope Francis is in Panama at this hour to lead the youth of the world in a celebration of the Catholic faith. Good evening, everyone. I'm Liz Fables. Pope Francis landed in Panama late this afternoon. The Latin American pontiff will lead the first World Youth Day ever staged in Central America. The Pope started his journey at 10 this morning, Rome time. This is his third World Youth Day. The main program gets underway tomorrow, and Currents News is providing special live coverage. But right now, Currents News' Tim Harfmann is at the Figali Convention Center in Panama. He traveled to the country with the pilgrims from the Brooklyn Diocese. Tim.
Liz, we're at a special event hosted by the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops for thousands of pilgrims, including the nearly 200 who traveled here from the Brooklyn Diocese. Today is the first full day that pilgrims from Brooklyn and Queens are all here together in Panama. I had the chance to travel with some of them, and we were up early heading here to World Youth Day. Not your typical scene at New York's JFK Airport, but before sunrise, the terminal is fairly quiet. The young people are waiting to board their plane for the week-long celebration that's ahead.
I feel excited. I'm really tired, but I'm really excited to just experience a new country.
Young Catholics like this group from St. Bartholomew Church in East Elmhurst, Queens, are packed up and ready to go.
It was really complicated, knowing what to bring, and because it's a new experience, but we tried our best and we have it here now.
They're on their way to join hundreds of thousands of other young Catholics at the international gathering, Pope Francis leading the festivities, including Stations of the Cross Friday, praying in front of the Blessed Sacrament at Saturday's Vigil, and celebrating Sunday's closing Mass. But even with so much to see and do at World Youth Day, Pilgrim Carlos Calamarca is focused on his education.
I actually brought homework to do for my physics class and AP classes, which is really tough, but I think this trip, there's still going to be time to do my homework, and I'll still be able to enjoy Panama and increase my religious experience.
And have an experience at World Youth Day he'll never forget.
I've heard many stories about going to these places, and people always come back with miracle stories or how it's changed them. So hopefully that can happen to me too, and I can pray for my family and friends that really need it.
And after landing, the young Catholics from Brooklyn and Queens got right into the World Youth Day festivities, boarding buses, dropping off their luggage, and going straight to the opening Mass. They say that being in Panama is not a vacation, but a pilgrimage, and that includes having a better understanding of church teachings. USA! Pilgrims from Brooklyn and Queens start their days walking long distances.
How we doing, New York? USA!
But they're excited to strengthen their faith.
I think it's important to give us an early start to bring our bond closer to God, give us that morning refresher that we're still here all together.
They travel to CATECHESIS to listen and boost their Catholic faith.
I think oftentimes after our religious ed ends, the formal training for our faith sometimes dwindles. I think this is a great opportunity to kind of revitalize our knowledge.
Joining hundreds of pilgrims from around the world in Panama, they gather in prayer and song. Australian Archbishop Christopher Prowse leading catechesis, encouraging young people to hear God's call as the Blessed Mother did.
My message is for people to say yes, and to, just like Mary, to say to God, here I am, no matter what situation they find themselves, and that God is with them in their struggles, and like Mary, will be with us all the days of our life.
The question and answer portion also helping pilgrims to re-energize their faith.
Someone asked a question that was, how do you know if it's God's will or if it's your own desire talking to you? So it's really cool.
What was the answer?
It was that God doesn't shout, he whispers to you, and you just, things that are your desire don't last as long as God's will, which lasts forever.
There are a number of catechesis sessions taking place simultaneously throughout Panama. The Bishop of Brooklyn, Nicholas DiMarzio, and Auxiliary Bishop Octavio Cisneros are also leading catechesis sessions in both English and Spanish. The pilgrims from Brooklyn and Queens look forward to hearing from their bishops. Liz?
Tim, we are watching a lot and seeing some singing and some cheering. We're even seeing some tears. What is the atmosphere like?
Yeah, well, it's really exciting, Liz, and we haven't even started the events with the hundreds of thousands of pilgrims led by Pope Francis. You'll see groups from all over the world waving flags through the streets of Panama, and even though there may be a language barrier, there's always a handshake and a smile. Liz?
All right, Tim, thank you very much. Bishop Frank CAGGIANO is a prominent catechist who will be speaking to English language pilgrims in Panama. The leader of the Bridgeport, Connecticut Diocese and a Brooklyn native says he won't shy away from the clergy sex abuse crisis, but he won't dwell on it. He says he'll give the young Catholics a choice between the dawn and dusk, inviting them to stand in the dawn with a personal commitment to holiness. On the agenda for World Youth Day is daily confessions in various languages as part of an initiative called Forgiveness Park. From 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., pilgrims can make an examination of conscience, followed by adoration at a nearby chapel. Young people from all over the world gathered in Panama tell us why they chose to go to confession.
I am from Colombia. My native language is Spanish. This was the first time I confessed in English. Breaking the language barriers, the cultural barriers. My confessor was from Australia. So it was, crazy. Like, it really makes me feel that we are all one church.
It's amazing to see people from all over the world going to confession here at the same time. And even though there's so much going on, it's still so peaceful when you're just sitting there one-on-one with the priest.
The Holy Father himself may hear confessions, as he's done at other World Youth Days.